Okay, so now we're down to connecting the remaining cables from the 780T Corsair case. There's a lot of cables down here, and they're all bundled together. There's a fair amount of cable management that they have already. They have a zip tie on the back, which I'm probably going to keep in place. I don't even know what half of these cables are for, so that's going to be interesting to do a little bit of reading of the 780T documentation. Some of these are your typical HDD LED power reset and all that. So we're going to probably connect those first. Also I have this fan over here. I'm just taking these twisties off to make sure that we don't have any possible problems later. It's not a good idea to have those, so I'm going to take those out. For now, I'm just going to take this one fan. I'm going to connect this into the sys fan heading over here after grounding myself to the case. I should be able to just plug this guy right in here. And it goes in. Let's see how this guy goes. So that goes in. It doesn't like going into the top pin, but it will go into the bottom three. So that guy's in. Then really it comes down to all this. I got to read some documentation and determine what all these guys are. Some of them I know, other ones I do not know. Well, there's a lot of cables that come with the 780T, so that's what we're doing next. Okay, so in trying to install Windows on our MSI Z170a Pro Carbon with the Intel i5, we haven't had too much success yet, but there's a number of these cables that are not quite connected yet, and even though they're likely not the cause of our problem, we're going to go ahead and connect them just to make sure that we're not causing the problem by having a floating voltage or something. I kind of doubt that that's the problem, but we're going to at least verify that that's not the case. So we have we have these power case fans. I don't think we're going to be using these. There's a couple of these which are good if you have extra fans and there's no connection on the motherboard. So we're going to connect this one because there is one fan that I'm noticing in the front of the case here that is never powering up. So likely that's going to need to be powered, and it's going to be powered through this connector. Now this connector is a SATA connector, and we can really connect this into any of the open SATA connectors that we have. There's one right here, so I think I'm going to just take this one right here that's going to power our our Samsung SSD drive. So that'll give us power to this front fan. Then there's these cables right here, which are really extensions for additional fans, and I'm going to leave. I think these I can leave unconnected. Just pause. Okay, so I've reduced most of the Corsair 780T cables down to this looks like an audio cable, USB 2.0. This is HD audio, says that on there. I guess I have. If you look at the right side, it does say USB, so that's USB 2.0. This is USB 3.0. And this is an archaic cable. Looks like maybe it's a power for older disk drives, so we're not going to need this. So in this video, I'm just going to connect up the, we're going to start with the USB. Once again, the USB 2.0, they're nicely keyed, so I know that this little, there's no pin for that part of it, and that's going to correspond with this USB 2. Since USB 1 is being taken up by the Corsair H110i, I'm going to take the front panel USB 2.0 pins from here. And of course, the big problem with these is just being careful not to bend anything. I've had bad luck with some of the USB pins before, but especially the USB 3.0, which I'm going to tackle last. Okay, that brings us to the HD audio. So the HD audio is it's all the way over here with the J Audio JAUD 1 on the MSI Z170a Gaming Pro Carbon. So we're going to take that. Always note the blanked out pin. So there's one pin there that's not use that. That helps quite a bit to get this key properly. Also, you want to make sure you have adequate light. I find I bend more pins when I can't see anything. And let's see if I can just get better light on this, because I want to be able to see that I'm putting this connector in right. And then I think I got this right. Alright. So that seems to be okay. So lastly is the USB 3.0, and this is the one I've had trouble with before. If you look closely at this, it's hard to tell that this guy is the pin that is not used, but that's the one that you're going to want to have. And of course, it's got this key, so theoretically, it should be hard to mess this up, but I have managed to bend a pin with this before. So just be careful with this one, and especially you want to make sure that you are able to see. You know, one problem is low lighting, and just making sure that you don't press down on anything. So the main thing is, let's see if I can actually see. There we go. Looks like that is in. So it looks like it's in. And I'm going to double check it just to make sure, because last time I pushed one in and I bent a pin. And of course, once you bend a pin, you're out of luck for getting that back. You're not going to bend it back, because these pins are so fine on the USB 3.0. So if you do have trouble later when you're trying to use your USB 3.0 from the front panel, likely it's because you bent a pin. Alright, so that looks like it's in there. It looks like this time I did not bend the pin, but just realize this is, for me, this is the most difficult part of the build, is actually getting this guy in there. Okay, so one more note about connecting the Corsair Graphite Series 780T connectors. We had a problem with this last fan. We thought we had everything connected, but there was actually one more fan connection from this guy that was not included. So I just wanted to cover that. I mean, basically, the main problem is that this little fan connector kind of hides back here around the corner, and it's actually, there's a little bit of a twist tie kind of holding it together. And really the only way to get at it is from this side, taking off the back plate and then kind of reaching underneath here. So once I discovered that that was missing, that was basically the missing link. And so that's the last fan that was not properly connected. And I was able to use one of these little fan power extensions right here, and that is working nicely. So that's the last detail of connecting everything from the 780T case. Now we're just going to be focusing on debugging, our issues with Windows.